Well, about a month ago, one of my sisters had a widowmaker heart attack. And people know that heart attack is a widowmaker because it happens so quickly that you have maybe a minute to revive somebody.
Wow.
Otherwise, they're not going to live. Well, she had been feeling bad, and her husband one morning called EMS to come to the house. She lay down on the bed, and the fire department shows up first. This fireman walks into the bedroom, and just as he walks in the bedroom, she turns gray, her eyes roll back in her head, and that's when it hit. And they grabbed her, put her on the floor, and they started chest compressions. And they did chest compressions for 40 minutes. They used a defibrillator 7 times. And this fireman wouldn't even switch off what he was doing. He just insisted upon not stopping. He insisted that he was not going to let my sister die. He just refused to do it. He refused to quit, to trade off, and he did chest compressions for 40 minutes until they could get her stabilized and in an ambulance to take her to the hospital. And so what she's struck with after this is settled and I've talked to her is that she's trying to wrap her brain around why these people, not only the paramedics, the firemen, people at the hospital, why they refused to let her die. They were determined to do everything they could to keep her alive. Well, they did. And within a day, she sounded back to her old self, and she sounded great. It's been pretty amazing, but it's been interesting to talk to her. And she was there when I went through my crisis years ago, and she was on the other end of the phone listening to me. And so recently, I was trying to figure out how to talk to her about my faith. Because like me, she was raised in the church, but you could say we were cultural Christians. We were raised in the church, but we didn't fully understand. Our eyes just weren't open until mine were when I went through this crisis of faith. And I saw this as maybe this is what she's going through right now, but I also remembered that my siblings don't always want to hear what I have to say. So I tried to gently approach her in a phone conversation about how could I share with her what I think is the greatest thing ever, that is free to everybody, that there's enough to go around, and then if she's wondering why she's still here, why these people refuse to give up on her, I thought this is a time I could talk to her about this, but also nervous about how to do it. And so I just started with how I said, do you remember you being on the other end of the phone when I was going through a crisis? And I said, the rest of that story is that it was Christ who helped me in that very difficult time. And I said, it's like my eyes were finally open and I understood better. And I wanted you to know that we don't have to talk about this right now. But if there's a time in the future when we can talk face to face or on the phone or things you have questions about, I'll tell you the rest of the story about how this changed my life and how I grew to understand that why I am still here and why I have a greater goal now than anything I've accomplished in aviation or in the military or anything like that. And so I just left the invitation open to her that if she ever wants to talk about it, I want to talk about with her. I could hear her become silent on the other end of the phone. And in the past, when I'm talking to my siblings and they get quiet, that usually means I'm talking too much and I should stop. And so I did my best to put it out there and to create an invitation and hope that one day she'll take me up on that invitation to talk further about.
Yeah, see what God does with it. Yeah, I love the connection with the whole idea of a slice of life where you're building this bridge. You had an attention-getting season in your life. God got your attention.
Yeah.
She's got this attention-getting situation, and you're kind of telling her that it's probably God that's getting your attention.
Yeah.
What a great example.
Yeah.